In November of 1963, there was a very famous baseball writer, Bob Broeg, B-R-O-E-G, in St. Louis. And he wrote that the Braves were considering Atlanta. I was stunned. Everybody denied it. Everybody denied it, including the then current owners of the Braves, one of whom to this day is a very close friend of mine, and he wouldn't mind, Bill Bartholomew. In 1964, in July, the rumors were everywhere, and they said, we'll be here today, tomorrow, and as long as we are welcome. At the end of the 64 season, they tried to move. They were blocked in court. We actually ran, I was 30 years old, or 31 years old at that point, that year, because they couldn't stay in Milwaukee. The feeling was, it was unbelievable. Here had been the Braves coming from Boston, great story from 1953 through about 61 or 2, and then attendance dropped off. And life was different, baseball was different. But it was a sad, sad moment. I understand how the people in Brooklyn feel, to this day, in some cases, those who are still left. It was heartbreaking. It was sad. I was telling some students before, I'll tell you a quick story, which I hope will symbolize for you how sad it was. The LA Dodgers with the great Koufax were in town that night, facing the Braves with Aaron and Matthews. And crowd maybe of 15,000 people, sad, quiet, somber. It was really painful. My heart was breaking. I was just distraught. And something happened that I've never forgotten. Remember, it took us 5.5 years to get a team. We went through a lot of travail, a lot of heartache. I'll always believe it was the thing I'm most proud of everything that's happened, because the odds were, maybe I was too young to understand, but the odds were really against us. Tried to buy a National League expansion team, American League expansion team. We tried to buy the Chicago White Sox. We finally bought Seattle, 5.5 years. And we were down to the end. But a woman came up to me, handicapped woman, who I'd seen around the ballpark, and she was very emotional. I'm sitting with my partner, one of my partners, Ed Fitzgerald, who at that time was president of Cutler Hammer. And she said, "Are you Bud Selig?" Well, at that time I wasn't as used to that as I am today. And Ed said to me, kidding, "What'd you do, buddy?" And I don't know. And she said to me, it's a great sociological lesson. She said, and she was tears streaming down her face, "Do you know what this means to people like me? Do you understand this is part of my life being taken away?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, I do." And she said, "This is hard to describe." And everybody around her, very quiet. And she said, "I want you to remember this, young man. Don't you fail, because you're all we got." And so when I'd be walking the streets of Chicago after the National League expansion, we got turned down, thought we were going to get it. After the White Sox deal, and even during the whole Seattle thing at the end, I couldn't get her off my mind. And that was an abject lesson of what baseball means to people. And that was the abject lesson of the mood in Milwaukee.